Hey, welcome back. This is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show. And today we're going to touch on emergency radios. And what brought that to mind is the fact that there is some disturbance out in the Atlantic heading towards Florida, Cuba, thereabouts. And it's hurricane season, so we have to be prepared for emergencies. So I've done a number of shows on these emergency radios. A bunch of them were the Eaton radios, different sizes, different models, different capabilities. One of the Radio Shack models that was on sale on Amazon. And Cato makes a number of emergency radios. Now, what is emergency radio? What I would constitute as an emergency radio is, number one, it can receive AM and FM and ideally the NOAA weather channels. Not all of the ones that are put in that class receive the emergency NOAA broadcast. But that should be one of the possibilities. This one does. And I'm going to tell you briefly about this one. I did a review of it some time ago. You can go back to that show and see the details. The other thing is, what's on my list for an emergency radio is to be able to be powered by some other method than batteries, because quite often you will not be prepared for an emergency, especially if it's like a tornado. I mean, they come up quite fast, so a lot of times you don't have time to run out and buy some emergency equipment. So I like to have a radio that has some kind of alternate power than either plugging it into a wall, because a lot of times when you have an emergency, a weather emergency I'm talking about, you won't have any power. So this particular radio, and many of the ones I reviewed, have a solar charging capability, which to me, that's not so important, because a lot of times when you're in emergency situations, the weather's bad and it's overcast, so you won't have any sun to charge it. The other alternative is a crank generator built into the radio to charge the radio. That's another way. Of course, the last one is batteries. And there's kind of a trade-off on these guys. Let me just check this particular one. Some of these, let me get this open. It's easy for me to say. Okay, this one has both. You can put AA batteries in this, or this little built-in power pack is what is rechargeable, and you can either charge via the solar or an external connector or the crank. So this one's pretty versatile. Some of the radios, some of the cheaper ones, I'll just go ahead and use the word cheaper. I was going to say less expensive, but they're cheaper. That's all there is to it. All they have, whoops, stay there. All they have is that little rechargeable battery pack. That's all they have. So they don't have any room for AA batteries or AAA batteries. That's some of them. The capacity of these little battery packs is quite low, but the radio doesn't draw a lot of power when it's in use. Excuse me. The other feature that I like is to be able to charge your cell phone, because quite often you'll find your cell phone, you're trying to contact relatives or whoever, your cell phone battery will get used up, and with no power you can't recharge it. Now, one good thing about cell phones is you can get, or maybe it came with your cell phone, an adapter for your car, so you can charge it with your car battery. So that's another way. And you can use your car battery to power radios if you have the right adapter to convert it to 12 volts to whatever the radio needs. Like this radio uses, let's see, 3 AA batteries. That's 4.5, about 5 volts. It uses about 5 volts. So you need a converter to go from 12 to 5. This particular one also has a light built in case your flashlights batteries are dead, you don't have any additional batteries. It's AM, FM, and NOAA weather stations. This particular model, which I think is discontinued, I got this on sale from Amazon. Right now, during the summer, you'll find a lot of radios on really good sales on Amazon. I got this radio 50% off. It's normally about $55, and I think I got it for about $29. This is the model FR500. Like I say, they have tons of models. I'll show you another one real quick. Here's another one. Like I say, I've reviewed all these radios in detail. You can look at my reviews. Now, one thing I noticed, I haven't used these radios in probably a year, is they even put this sticky, but it's not sticky initially, but this coating, outside coating, that turns sticky. And this, when I went to pick them up a few minutes ago, this thing is really sticky. And because it's sticky, it collects dust. Now, I have, there's a whole bunch of dust that's now stuck on here, on the side of this one. And this one actually looks dirty. It's collected so much dust. And since it's white, the dust really shows up. So that's one thing to keep in mind when you're going to get one of these. Now this one is called the American Red Cross version. Well, I just noticed this one also. This one also is called the American Red Cross. Why they put the sticky? I mean, again, it wasn't sticky when I first got it, but these, I've had these about a year, and they are stickier than hell. So anyway, keep that in mind. Let me see what else I got here. Just stand by for a second. Okay, here's a couple. I've got about, I would say, a half a dozen of what I call emergency radios. Here's another one. Eaton. I don't know if you can see that one, but that's got a lot of dust on it. I don't know how I'm going to get it off. Now here's the one that probably will be hard to find now. This is was sold by Radio Shack, and as they were closing their stores, they were closing these out for about 75% off. This is a pretty good little radio, and it's not sticky. It's not sticky. It's got kind of metal. It's plastic. It's not metal, but it feels like it's metal, and it's got your typical glossy finish that you can wipe the dust off. But I'm getting off base here. I'm really not trying to review these radios. The point is, you should have an emergency radio of some kind, and you can get one. I just noticed on Amazon you can get one for $9.95. It's a crank radio, so you can charge it by cranking, and it doesn't have the NOAA weather channels. It's only AM and FM. It will charge. It's what the ad says. It will charge your cell phone. Now, I did some tests with these. Let's see. Does this have solar? This one does not have solar. These two have solar panels on the top. I did some tests trying to charge the radio using those solar panels. It ain't going to happen. I estimated you would have to leave the radios in bright sunshine, which means the whole radio is going to heat up from the sun, for about 4 or 5 hours a day. You can get full sunshine if you're lucky. It would take about 4 or 5 days to charge the little battery in this thing. So to me, don't even worry about solar charging. Just don't waste your money. As the guy used to say, don't waste your money. But all these models, I take it back. This particular one does not have a crank. Okay, so we'll take that one out of off the screen here. Forget him. So we got, and I have others, like I said before. So we have two Eaton's Red Cross brand in the Radio Shack brand, all of which has the crank. I'll just pull this one out. This one has a nice handle that you can really hold on to this thing, pull out the crank, and crank it. Now, as far as cranking, again, it's not very efficient. Again, I tested these for get the battery charge, cranking it, and I found out that if you, I do this one cranking scheme, in that I crank for a minute and then I rest my arm, because these got pretty good resistance when you're cranking them. I rest my arm for a minute, I crank for a minute, I rest for a minute, and I do that for 5 cycles. So the total cranking time is 5 minutes. And let me tell you, it's tough to get these, to crank these for a continuous minute, because there's quite a bit of resistance. If there's not a resistance, it probably means it's not really working that well. So resistance is good. And after doing that, I get about, and it varies all over the place, I get about 10 minutes of playtime. I did not test how long it could charge a cell phone. I don't know. But so you don't get a lot. Luckily, these radios don't require a lot of power, so they don't use up that little bit of energy you've stored in the battery. All these radios, of course, are dead right now. So I'm just, for grins, I'm going to take one, probably this one, it's the easiest to crank, although this one you can hold by the handle, and this one by the handle up here, although it's going to stick to me right now, to crank it. So I'm going to crank this one for with my 5 and 5 cranking series and see if the radio will play. I just want to see if it plays. It's completely dead right now. If I, let's see. Okay, nothing on the display. I just turned it on, nothing on the display. So it's completely dead, and it's been dead for about a year. Now, most of these, let's see, this one has the USB connector on the back, and there's a switch here. You can either have the USB charging that little cell, or you can use this as an output for a power supply for your cell phone or whatever. Let me check the other ones, what the connectors are. This one behind this little door here, that is, it's got both. It's got an adapter plug port on the left there and a USB on the right. So it's got both, and I believe it came with a little power cube. This one, probably, this is the same configuration as the other one. What's a little different? It's got a full-size USB port and a mini USB port. I assume one's in and one's out. Yes, it's marked on here. The output, this is the output, the big one for your phone, to charge your phone, and the little one is the input to charge the battery in there. Again, the batteries in these things are very small. Let me see if I can see if this one's got a battery in it. Should. Yes, and it's the same little battery right there. A little tiny power pack. Let me see if I can pull that out and read the, it's 300 milliampere hours. 300, that's it. So that's pretty small. Okay. So it's not going to give you much reserve. All right, we're going to close this up, and we're going to try to do the 5 and 5. I don't know if I'll make it or not. So let me get the handle out here, and I'll set it down. Nope, I can't set it down. So I'll be off screen here, and I'm going to crank it. Let me turn my timer on here so I can time myself. Okay, I got to get going here. And there's a lot of resistance. I don't think I'm going to make it. 40 seconds. Oh my gosh, these are really hard to crank. That's why I do this 5 and 5, because I can barely crank for a minute. And as a matter of fact, I hurt my shoulder a couple weeks ago, and it's still sore. So I'm just going to see if this radio will come on with 1 minute crank. Nope. So you got to charge up that little battery thing, and these things, the dynamo in these things are not really efficient. Probably, most likely, if I did the full 5 and 5, I could get the radio to come on and play for a while. I'll try one more cycle. So I'm up to 48 seconds of resting. I'm going to kind of run my hands together, and I'm going to try one more 60-second crank. Okay, here we go. Stand by. "25 seconds to go." My arm is giving out. You can probably hear me stuttering here when my cranking. 40 seconds done. "10 seconds to go." Woo. So that's 2 minutes of cranking, and my arm is totally wasted. Now, one thing about this one, it has a little LED right here marked recharging, which comes on if you're cranking fast enough. I had to take a break here. Okay, let's just see if it comes on. If it doesn't, too bad. Nope, it doesn't come on. So, whew, the secret is to leave this on charge. I don't think it'll hurt anything to leave it on charge. Some cases, some setups, it's not a good thing to leave batteries on charge. I don't know about this one, but I would leave it on charge. Otherwise, you're going to struggle getting this cranked up. I'm going to, off camera, I'm going to see if I can do the additional charging to get 5 minutes of charging and see if the radio will come on. It may be the battery is just too dead. Like I say, I haven't used this radio in over a year, so it's been sitting there just discharging. So it may have killed the battery. It may kill the battery. So I'll do that offline. But anyway, my point is, if you don't have an emergency radio, and go back to what I call emergency radio. Emergency radio is it receives AM, FM as a minimum. NOAA weather is ideal that you have that. Don't have to have it, but I would put that on a must get. Multiple sources of power for the radio. All of these three here, the one I took away, it doesn't have it, but all of these have some kind of light. Let's just see if this has got enough power to turn the light on. Light right here. Nope, nada. So I think the battery pack is gone. I think I've let it go too long. So there's another case where you forget to buy batteries, so you don't have any batteries. You don't keep this thing charged up, so the battery pack fails. Now again, these are all made in China. So they've got cheap battery packs. So that's another thing you might want to do after you get one is, number one, get a spare battery pack. Because what happens is there's most likely some electronics that's always on, always drawing on the battery, which could, over time, a year, in my case, could kill that battery pack. Just drain it down so far you can't recover it. Like I say, I'm going to try the extra 30 minutes offline and see if I can get it. If I do, I'll put a comment in the on the show saying yes, it worked, or I'll make a comment, no, I never could get it to charge using the built-in cranking capability. That's about it. Get yourself one of these. Like I say, they range for all different prices. This one originally sold for like $54. This one originally sold, I think, well, I'm not sure, I'd be guessing, but I think it sold for $29. And in Radio Shack, even before they start closing out their stores, we're selling it for like half price. So if you can find, and some of these you can find on either Amazon or eBay that are brand new, you know, that somebody bought up the surplus or whatever. That's it. I've babbled enough. I hope you got the point. Get yourself one of these, or if you already have a radio that has that capability, the key thing, although I couldn't get it to work on this radio, the key thing is this dynamo cranking. So you don't need any source of power. This radio will actually, let me see something. See, I've got it on battery. Maybe I try on dynamo. Oh, there it is. Look at there. I had the switch in the wrong position. It's on. Let me see. How do I? Oh, tune.
Actress.
There we go.
Along with a famous one-name singer. Who are these people? And the answer is Kidman, as in Nicole Kidman. And
so that's just, I mean, that was a dead battery. Now I'm not sure because I didn't have it in the right position there. I see it's got two positions for power. One's marked dynamo, and I thought that was the position that you try to play the radio when you're cranking it. The other one is battery, and I assumed that meant either the rechargeable battery or the double A's. But apparently dynamo means using the rechargeable battery, which now it works. And now I'm not sure that that battery didn't already have a charge because I didn't try that function. What a dummy. Oh well, you get the point. Get yourself one of these radios so you're prepared. That's it. If you enjoyed this show, please give me a thumbs up, even if it was just for the humor that I accidentally gave you. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Oh, jeez, I'm tired.